Good afternoon. This devotional is being recorded for Friday, February 25th, 2022. Today I want to look at a scripture that describes itself as King David's last words. In 2 Samuel chapter 23, verses 1 to 7, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, 2nd edition, it says, "These are the last words of David. David, the son of Jesse, speaks. David, the man who was raised up so high, David, the man anointed by the God of Jacob, David, the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord speaks through me. His words are upon my tongue. The God of Israel spoke. The rock of Israel said to me, the one who rules righteously, who rules in the fear of God, is like the light of the morning at sunrise, like a morning without clouds, like the gleaming of the sun on new grass after rain. Is it not my family God has chosen? Yes, he has made an everlasting covenant with me. His agreement is arranged and guaranteed in every detail. He will ensure my safety and success. But the godless are like thorns to be thrown away, for they tear the hand that touches them. One must use iron tools to chop them down. They will be totally consumed by fire." That's quite the epitaph to put on a tombstone. He says, I'm a son of Jesse. He never forgot where he came from. The shepherd boy, the rural roots, he always knew where he came from. Then he says he was anointed and raised high. It's an old rancher saying that if you drive past and you see a turtle on top of a fence post, you know he didn't get there by himself. That's the way David felt about himself. He was anointed and raised high. It was the action of God in his life. It was not his doing, it was God's doing. He calls himself the sweet psalmist of Israel. Oh, how precious it is to spend time in the Psalms, to recognize the songs of praise and worship and adoration of God. And David recognizes that a key part of his life was that ability to be a songwriter. He says, the Spirit of the Lord speaks through me. David was not a preacher. David was a king and a warrior and a songwriter. He says God gives him fresh new words. It's like the smell of the desert after a rainstorm. How beautiful it is to recognize the beauty of the newness, of that recreation, of the beauty and freshness that nature brings. Then he describes the everlasting covenant that is made through his family, that God made an agreement with him that God would keep, that on the throne of David would sit the ruler forever, that Christ would come and set up his eternal home, an everlasting covenant. And then he describes how the godless are destroyed, like thorns that the gardener cuts out and throws in the fire to be burned. And he speaks of God as his rock, being the one who brings him safety and success. What a beautiful recognition of who God is in this testimony of King David towards the end of his life. What happens when you look back at your relationship with God? Has he brought you safety and success? Have you recognized his agreements with you? Have you seen how he has brought you up? David has a tremendous testimony of what God has done. May we see the safety and success that God brings this week. God bless you.